Hey everyone, how are you today? My name is Amelia. To my left and right is RJ and Cade. Today we are here to talk about acid rain. If you don't know what acid rain already is, we have Cade here to explain it.
So acid rain is a form that includes any form of precipitation with acidic components such as sulfuric and nitric acid that falls to the ground from the atmosphere. It can be in wet or dry form. It can include in rain, snow, fog, hail, or even dust that is acidic. To know if it is dry form, it would basically be acidic particles and gases that deposit from the atmosphere in absence of moisture.
Okay, so now that you know what acid rain is, let's talk about what causes it. And here is RJ here to explain that for us.
So as you guys may know, acid rain occurs when sulfur dioxide and nitrogen dioxide are transmitted into the atmosphere and transported into the air by wind. Sulfur and nitrogen react with water, oxygen, and other chemicals. The chemical mix with water before falling to the ground. While a small portion of acid rain comes from sulfur and nitrogen, some come from fossil fuels such as burning of fossil fuels to generate electricity. 2/3 of sulfur and nitrogen come from electric power generators, vehicles, and heavy equipment, manufacturing, oil references, and other industries.
Over time, winds can blow sulfuric and nitrogen over long distances, causing it a problem for everyone. So it is not just a problem for the people around the resources. Now acid rain is also measured with a pH scale for which 7.0 is neutral. If it is any less than 7, the more acidic the rain is. Normal rain normal rain ranges about 5.6. Slightly acidic though, carbon dioxide dissolves into the rain, forming a weak carbonic acid. Normal rain ranges between 4.2 to 4.4 on the pH scale.
Policymakers, research scientists, and ecologists and meteorologists also rely on the NADP, which stands for National Atmosphere Deposition Program, for measurements of the wet deposition. They also collect more than 250 monitoring sites throughout the U.S., Alaska, Canada, Hawaii, and the U.S. Virgin Islands. If you haven't known already, any dry deposition is also harder to measure and more expensive because it could be divided into two categories, direct and indirect. And when applying one of the direct methods to flux of chemical components, it is determined explicitly. This is done through a collection of materials of the sulfur and through a measurement of vertical flux. While wet disposition is easy because due to the nature of disposition pressure, the chemical components are confined to liquid of raindrops, and after it has taken a depositing grass are not confined and can undergo physical transformations.
Here are also some examples of theoretic and diuretic methods. Natural surfaces, basically material deposited in natural surfaces by leaf washing or snow analyzes. Yeah. This approach is ineffective for gases due to chemical bonding of gases to the surface. Oh, I got more. Gradient method, indirect is basically in this method the
Disposition.
Deposition velocity is determined by measuring the vertical.
Vertical.
Okay. Concentration gradient of the disposing chemical and the theory of gradient transport is used to determine the associated oh my god.
Deposition flux.
Disposition.
Go to English class.
Oh my, I can't read it. I don't know.
Dry deposition also has two methods called bulk sampling and wet-only sampling, which as the precipitation are both collected in a bucket by bulk sampling, is open all the time, and wet only is open when it rains. Okay, so that was quite a long one, don't you think? Well, I think you guys know a lot about acid rain now, but now here we go about talking about why is it harmful, and I will explain that for you guys.
Oh, thank God.
Alright, so first of all, air pollution like sulfur dioxide, nitrogen dioxide can cause diseases or even make diseases worse. Respiratory diseases like asthma or chronic bronchitis can make it harder for people who suffer with those harder to breathe. Acid rain also makes tiny particles, and when it enters the lung, it can cause health problems. Nitrogen oxide also makes the ground ozone, causing permanent lung damage due to respiratory problems.
Acid rain is also harmful to the forest and lakes. First, it is harmful to the forest because it can dissolve the magnesium and calcium from the trees, which is what makes the trees healthy. It can even
Please do not lock the door.
cause aluminum to dissolve into the soil, which makes it harder for water to enter the
I'm
soil.
already here. Thank you. Sir, do it.
Right after. Now. Oh, wait. Oh, that was the scene?
Yeah, just go.
Okay.
Just read it.
Right after. Now to the lakes. Basically, without pollution or acid rain, most leaks. Is that leaks?
Yes.
Lakes.
Lakes.
Yes. Go.
Lakes will have a PLT level.
pH. Boy, I'm trying to get this done.
That looks like PLT. Alright. Level of 65 point. Acid rain has caused many lakes to have a lower pH in the U.S. Unfortunately, this can be very deadly to
Any aquatic animals.
any aquatic animals.
Okay, last but not least, buildings and objects. Acid rain can be harmful to buildings, statues, cars, or monuments. The rain will cause it to erode and pew paints, leaving the objects to look old and worn down. Alright, well,
No.
what do you
One,
think
isn't
the
it like a whole lot?
conclusion or solution is to this problem?
Well, first of all, because nitrogen oxide is created in the process of burning coal and fossil fuels, my first solution would be by producing energy without fossil fuels. It might consider more use of wind and solar power that naturally and renewable resources help reduce acid rain because it produces much less pollution. The energy resources can be used to power machine and produce electricity.
Much less factories can also help. Since factories emit smoke sources that include sulfur dioxide and nitrogen, and then it goes released into the air, causing acid rain.
Lastly, before we say goodbyes, cleaner cars. Since cars and trucks are major air pollutant resources, less cars can help many cars together in one location release a high amount of nitrogen oxides and other pollutants. So keep in mind, cars that produce less pollution are better for the environment. Well, I think that's all for tonight. I hope all you guys watching learned many things about acid rain and that this helped. Check us out next time on Science News Today on Channel 6. Bye.
Bye.
Okay, so here you have we're going to talk about the places in areas of acid rain and electrical power in USA in 2002 was the worst. Following was fuel combustion, and then industrial, and then transportation, and other was 1%. Which is all bad for the economy, but other was still okay, but we need to cut down on everything else. Now in Canada, the next was also electrical power was the worst, and then others following, which was... No, it was transportation first, and then electrical, industrial, fuel combustion, and other, which is worse. Now on the chart, we have it from 1900s all the way to 200s. and it started off slow, and then as it rised, it got worse, and then it stopped a little bit. Then it grew dramatically, went down dramatically a little, and then started up and went down, and then dramatically rised again. And next we have on a map, which is near the Ohio and up near Maine area, which is kind of, the red spot is the worst for acid rain, and then the really dark green spot is the best, or where it's like not the, where it's not bad for acid rain.